No more, he just has a temper.
No more, but he's such a nice guy.
No more, but he has such a bright future.
No more, not my problem.
No more. I'll say something next time.
No more. Why didn't she tell anyone?
No more. Why doesn't she just leave?
No more, I'm sure they'll work it out.
No more. She seems fine to me.
No more. What was she wearing?
No more, she was drunk.
No more, he was drunk.
No more, she was asking for it.
No more. She never said no.
No more, not in this family.
No more, not on this team.
No more, we don't talk about that.
No more bystander.
No more ignorance.
No more excuses. No more.
No more, no more, but we're going to give you some more Unfiltered Unspoken with your host, Demetria Good, CEO and founder of Unfiltered Unspoken and The Good Fight. So today we are going to get live with it. We have two kings, similar life experiences, and they're going to chat with each other why their life traumas caused them to be the way that they are. So let me first introduce our co-host, Daryl. Come on, will it on in. Hey, Daryl. Get some energy. Jeez.
I'll get a lot of energy when you gone.
Oh, oh, okay. Let me bring Rodney in. He a little more pleasant. Let's welcome my king, Rodney Grimes. Hey, Rodney.
Hello. Peace and blessings.
Hey.
This is how we do it.
So I'm going to let Rodney go because they already done seen Daryl little face up on here. Maybe not be little, but we can't criticize each other, right?
We're keeping it real.
So we're going to let you introduce yourself, Rodney. Come tell us a little bit about yourself, and we're not going to go too deep because we want to save it for you when you and Daryl get to getting into it. So okay. I'm going to introduce Rodney. Rodney, please tell our followers, our audience, a little bit about yourself.
Well, good evening, peace and blessings to you. My name is Rodney Grimes. I'm born and raised in Alexandria, Virginia. I am an ex-Marine. I'm also a father and a dedicated husband. I'm a believer in the Yah, the Creator, and I do what I do. I believe I am my brothers and sisters' keeper, and I also have several production companies and things that I do. But we'll talk about that because we're all about this production right now.
Hey, but this is what this site is for too. Rep what you do. Let people know what you do. So the followers just don't have to be here. The followers can be with you too. We can share. This is a unity, and we are not going to forget that.
Well, I appreciate that so much. I do have a podcast. It's called People to People. My slogan is People to People, Power to Power, Positive Thinking People. It's not about me. It's not about you, but it's all about us.
Amen. So we're going to bring Daryl back up on in here. Come on, Daryl. Get up in here. Over there looking like a Christian brother that just came from church.
Daryl look like money. That's what he look like. You look like some money over there.
Hey, Rodney, that's why we're going to really get in this conversation. Because look, for so often, men always putting on a mask instead of dealing with the reality of what's really going on.
And dealing with the truth of who they
are. How about that?
That's real.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? How about you just move me right on to the back so that I can let y'all get into it and give the people what they need. I need y'all to please chime in because these are two kings talking about their emotions, their traumas, their abuse, why their abuse caused them to make certain life decisions that they made today. And again, I'm going to say this as I always say this. We have to always go back to our childhood traumas. All right, I'm going to let you brothers get it. Just kick me on to the back.
All right. First, I'd like to thank everybody that may be just tuning in. We got Rodney who's in today, and today we're gonna really get into some real good stuff, talking about some real things that a lot of time we as men we evade from having discussions. I understand on this podcast we have done a lot of discussions as it relates to talking about domestic violence and how that part of life have so much have filtrated our society. But one of the things that in the whole clamor of all of this is that we don't have men talking about molestation and whether or not how they have been molested and things of that nature. So before I really get into this, I want you all to know that I am a victim of molestation, and for a long time I've kept it locked up, trapped inside of me, and just going through life and seeing how it affected me in so many different areas. And if you look down at the bottom, you will see that today's topic, and I believe that Rodney can assist us and is going to bring something very vibrant to us as men, because I take this very serious, because one of the things that I think that is very, very important for us on this particular broadcast is that we want to keep it real honest. We want to talk about the real issues. We want to keep the issues on self, talking about our life experience. I definitely like to thank my individual that I follow, which is Demetria, who's a phenomenal individual. And I'm not going to hold you up, but I'm going to bring Rodney back in here. And if you look at the bottom, today's topic is going to be why men don't talk about their pain. And that's something that I think that we really need to get in tune with. So I'm going to bring Rodney back in, and I'm going to let Rodney shoot this off, because I got enough confidence in God that I believe that if he was so eager to come in here, I am so obedient to believe that God has a word that he's going to give that's going to give men some insight, and not only just the men, but he's going to give some enlightenment, possibly even to women, to even understand more why men do what they do. So with no further ado, I'll bring you Rodney back in.
Okay, first of all, and I give my honor to Yah, who I put first in everything that I do. And I came up in a home where at one time it was a paradise. And around the age 6 or 7, it became a straight up place of hell for me. Many of us as men have went through trauma at a young age, and it affected us as we got older. I hadn't really been molested, but I've been mentally and physically abused, and that was by my father. And I watched him beat my mom and beat on my siblings, and it was something that really affected me. That growing up, I didn't know how to communicate with men, and I also had developed a sense of confusion about love and passion. And so, at one point, I couldn't even talk about my father without crying. I felt like, I was cursed. I felt like I did something wrong. And so with many guys, we come up and we wonder why we have attitudes and things of that nature. And then I do also do a lot of mentoring and talking with different individuals. And I found that a lot of us try to block things off and hide it. And we don't really tell the truth about ourselves or the things that we experience. My father was alcoholic. He also was retired from the Army. He was involved in several wars, and he was mentally disturbed. And also, as a black man in this country, having all that to deal with didn't help any when he came home from the war to a family that he really didn't know, and he tried to come in and take charge. What did it do to me? What did it do to me? it put me in a position where I didn't trust a man. I didn't trust other men. And in this process, it made me run to women for everything. I always wanted to have a woman in the palm of my hand. I wanted to have jurisdiction over the woman because I thought that I was in a safe zone with a female, with the passion and everything. Because most of my childhood coming up with my father was abuse. So it's many men out there who find themselves a lot of times getting confused. I was confused even in having a relationship with a woman that I thought it was okay for me to put my hands on them. I thought that because something that I experienced as a child. It didn't change until God blessed me with a daughter that I realized that I didn't want nobody putting their hands on her, and that it started to really kick in that the woman who I was married to is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's niece, somebody's aunt.
Okay.
And then I realized, go ahead, Derek.
Yeah. And I mean, you've brought up some very, very, very valid pieces. And, you know, and the reason why I'm listening so attentively, and again, I appreciate your openness. You know, you kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, you came up in a home that started out great, that somewhere along the way you said it transitioned over to a living hell. Now, I would like to know, was it a mother and a father in the home? First of all, did you have your mother and your father in the home with you?
Yeah, yes, I did. I had my mother was there. From what I understand, okay, so my father was in the military and my mom was there, so my father was in and out. So as I was born and everything, it was many times I probably didn't see my father for a year or two, maybe, because I don't recall meeting him until I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Now, do you think, okay, with that piece, do you think that that kind of developed some maybe out of the character behaviors? You know, because I know for me it did. You know, me not knowing who my father was, and even that which the stepfather that I knew, the abuse that came, you know, after, you know, my other siblings was born after, you know, which was his kids directly, you know, my behavior started transitioning because I did a lot of following. I mean, my mother was there, my grandmother was there, and my sister was there. And we growing up, I didn't know about not having a father then until my siblings would go with their father, if you will. And then that level of me just being isolated to whereas I intentionally, I believe, created the behavior, which was a negative behavior to try to get attention, you know, and I didn't really care how I got the attention. I didn't care, you know, as long as I could get some attention, that somebody would say, even if they said, well, you know what, Daryl, you ain't got no business doing that. I was okay with that because it gave me the attention, because I felt as if, I guess I kind of felt that I was not wanted. I was illegitimate, if you will. And you know, we're going to really get into this, man, because, you know, the reason why I want to stay so honest with this thing is because, one, just like you, man, I got so many issues, man, with men, you know, that authoritative figure, if you will. You know, I wrestled so long, even in my spirituality, if you will, because, you know, the thing that was taught of prayer, you know what I'm saying? You know, because as a child, we went with the basic prayer of our Father. See, I was good until you said father,
Yeah.
because that simulated everything that hurt me. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of men, and this is where we run into the problem. See, we don't understand as we come into manhood, you have to go back into the boyhood as well. And you got to go back and understand what was you exposed to as a child. What was the teaching? What were the things? See, when I was coming up, man, when my father came home, he came the authority. So he wasn't the love and passion. So inside of the household, my father was the one who whooped us and beat us. Before my father came home, I didn't even realize that what a whooping was, because my mother I didn't know she whooped me. But when my father came there, I started getting beaten on the regular. And one of the things with whether it's abuse in any kind of way, as a child, you start to try to learn how to manifest this protection. And it causes you to start to imagine, to create, to disconnect, and to become fearful. So even to this day, I don't like no dude to get in my space and look at me eye to eye and tell me what he gonna do to me, whether it's good or bad.
So did that come from the correction of your father?
That came mainly from the direction of my father. Now, because I had many men in my life who were positive and who helped me to become a better man and the man I am today.
Okay,
and
I find that interesting.
Not all of them were men of color either.
Okay, but Rodney, I find that interesting. And the reason why I say I find that interesting is that the discipline that you had, I guess I'm trying to figure out how the discipline that you had triggered you into that area of your feeling towards men, when today's generation is getting no correction. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's like that, and a part of me feel like, see, I didn't get that. It's like a part of me wish I could have had that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, when I'm mentoring to young guys, and one of the things that I tell many mothers, you can't teach your son how to stand up and pee. Now, they look at me when I say that, but I want to be realistic by when I make that statement, because it takes a man to teach a boy how to start to become a man.
Okay.
And in many cases, whether we are sexually abused, mentally abused, physically abused with whoopings and beatings, what happened is, now trying to go into manhood, you start confusing what is a real man. So a lot of us don't really start to learn what a real man is until we become of age and start to get wisdom.
Okay.
Because a lot of men who claim to be men back then, they weren't real men, especially when they was hurting children and women. So I had to develop this hatred that if any man, and this is funny, I'm 62 years old and I still have it in me. If any man put his hands on me, believe me, we got a problem. Okay? And that came from what my father was doing. I mean, waiting for my mother to leave and call me in the house and beat me with extension cords. My father beat me one time with extension cords so bad that it stopped hurting. And I fell to the floor and I said, when I get big, I'm going to kill you. He said, what you say? I said, I'm going to kill you when I get big. And at that time, he had beat me so much, it didn't really even bother me. So it was times I watched him fighting my mom and having us scared to go to sleep as children. So I looked at a lot of men as demons and devils.
Okay.
But I had a grandfather who was I considered to be a very, very powerful man, because he was a provider. I had some uncles who was very loving and kind and cunning, that they showed me a different side of manhood. So then I had an older brother who was 10 years older than me, who at some point he was like my hero. So I started to see man in a different perspective. But what I realized with many kids, and especially today, you got to understand that abuse in any kind of fashion is going to cause you to be dysfunctional. And you're going to find that the ones who apply that to you is the ones you're going to have the problem communicating with.
You know, you just said something. You just said something that just struck me. You said something, and I think that was real good. You know, because I'm listening very attentively. You know, and I'm hoping the individuals that are out there listening do the same. You know, with you expressing this, I see that you gave a description of your I believe it was your grandfather, who you said was the provider, I believe it was.
Yes.
And then you talked about some other individuals and some of their characters,
Yes.
which was loving and cunning. And this is real good. This is real good for me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm open because I want transformation. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
What I heard you say was the description that you gave in reference to your father. It wasn't so much. I'm hearing that it wasn't the fact that he disciplined you, but it was his motive or the reasoning for discipline, to whereas it crossed over to whereas, because I've known of some people that even in today's society, you hear them say on the news, what we need to start doing is beating these kids and correcting these kids. And I think to a level that's okay if you're doing it and you have more of the whole thing with it. In other words, I'll discipline you, but after I discipline you or before I discipline you, I'll talk to you about why I'm disciplining you, if you will.
Okay. So
you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but listen what you said, the word that you use. It's not okay to beat anybody. To discipline someone, it is. So there's a difference. A beating is not pleasant. A beating is not you teaching me anything.
So that's what you're saying your father did.
My father beat me.
Okay, because I want clarity for people that's listening. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No,
okay,
I got
it.
So my point I want to make is, yeah, I believe. Let me tell you something. If you want your son, if especially a man, I got two biological sons and I have 2 stepsons. But I'm gonna tell you like this: with my boys, I didn't beat my boys like my dad beat me, but I disciplined my sons. See, I didn't beat them like that. And see, one of the things that you got to understand in our process, that's where we get confused. And we don't realize through the process of us growing as men, we got to go back and relive those areas as a child so we can understand what took place no matter what. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I hadn't talked about this to many people. I had a cousin who did try to molest me, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't able to do anything because I ended up putting him in a headlock.
Okay.
And when my aunt, she had, she came in and she thought we was fighting, but what it was, he called himself, he was older than me. He was calling himself wrestling with me, but he was trying to hump on me or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, and I wasn't letting that happen. But in my mind, there again, this is something that happened as a child that going into my manhood that is affected me in a certain way.
Okay.
So my point I want to make is that as children, Like, I can't teach my daughters about coming on their period.
Right, right.
So that's a woman's position, because I don't understand it. But when we talk about as men and how we carry that pain, they try to make we're not supposed to cry. We're not supposed to be submissive. We're not supposed to show affection. We supposed to always walk around like we strong as bricks. And what happens? We start to cover up the truth about our feelings and emotions.
Wow, 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 wow. That's good.
And a lot of us do not be able to transition into manhood, understanding that that's not a weakness, no matter what happened to you. See, as a child, even whether you molested or beat or whatever, that's not your fault. And going into your manhood, now you have to start to be able to transition to a point to understand your position. And see, a lot of us are afraid to tell the truth. I used to be scared of men. I used to be scared of an older man because I thought all of them was going to be coming at me aggressively. And if they raised their voice at me, I was thinking, you're not going to treat me like my father treated me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, because this is getting good, because this is classified as that first half where we just having some conversation, and then what I want us to be able to do after this this short break here, what I want us to do now, we talked about our experiences as it relates to our growing up. Now I want to see now how we can redirect this with all these different entities, because I want to talk a little bit about, because you've helped me with some points. Honestly, you've helped me with some points, with even how to take the perspective of me being molested. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
On some of the things you share, because sometimes it's kind of difficult to make a transition if you don't know. You know what I'm saying? And if you're coming up on some if you're coming up off of old information. So right after this, when we come back, we're gonna jump right into this, man, and we're gonna finish this up, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Man, you just don't know how excited I am about what you have offered. So right after this, we'll be right back.
All right.
Really acknowledge the good you are? No. Do you know the good you are? Do you know it?
And I remember having a moment thinking, I'm now, for the rest of my life, going to be called a bad girl. I really don't belong here, and I don't even know how this happened to me. That I am in a place for bad girls. Because I didn't feel like I was a bad girl. And so the question is, what do you believe? Do you believe that you are worthy of happiness? I know that if you allow the past to define your present, that you never actually really get to live the life that you were meant to live. You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward.
Some kids don't have their dad or their moms there that can help them.
As a mom, I was feeling very vulnerable and scared.
Growing up with my mom, single mom, so she always had to work. It was just not a lot of like family time.
These young kids, I mean, there's so much in the streets right now that if they don't have positive role models or someone to tell them right from wrong, it's so easy for them to go down the wrong road.
I was able to provide a place for my children to live, but it wasn't that great of a place. You know, we had a roof over our head, food in our stomach and everything like that, the basics, but it was scary for them to go outside.
My oldest son, Aloy, was very angry. I was in a very abusive relationship with their dad, and he was unfortunate enough to be the oldest one to see what was going on, so he had a lot of anger.
You know, the things that they seen at home, like the domestic violence and stuff. My second son, he was bad.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is Unfiltered, Unspoken, directed and hosted mainly by Demetria Good from The Good Fight. For those of you, we have Rodney Grimes in today, and we're talking about to men, why men don't speak out. I would encourage you, if you're just coming in, go back to the beginning. You know, we are definitely trying to reach out now to have men to start getting to a point to understand that it is okay to talk about your issues. The true relief and your freedom comes in you talking about what you are and what your life experience have been, because you are not the only one that who've experienced or have gone through these things. So with no further ado, we're going to jump back into this. And, you know, we talked about on the first half about our different experiences and how we grew up. I've gotten a lot out of just listening to this, and it feels so good for the opportunity, especially with myself and Rodney, of two men that have issues with men, are able to sit here and discuss and talk with one another. And I don't know about his side, but I'm definitely getting something out of this, and how long I have blocked my life because of those false beliefs and those things that have traumatized me, that caused me to kind of stay away from where my help was. You know, because Rodney was sharing that one thing for certain, that a woman can't teach you how to stand up and pee. So in other words, that must mean in order for me to learn some things, I must gonna have to get that from a male. And in order for me to get that from a male, I got to be able to drop the rock, take a chance at this, open myself up, and allow myself to get the help I need to get better. So I'm encouraging you all to do that same exact thing. Rodney, you can go.
So again, one of the things that we have to realize is this. As children, a lot of times, and especially with men, we have a tendency to cover up. Let me talk about my father abusing my mom, what it did for me as a man. It taught me how to hit a woman. It taught me that hitting a woman was okay. It taught me that I could overpower her, and it was all right to beat her and yell at her and call out her name. That's what my father showed me. Was that right? No, it wasn't. When I grew up and became a man, in many situations, because of my confused mind, I did those exact things until I realized that it didn't feel good. And I was able to come to the reality of that's not what a real man is. When I joined the Marine Corps and I got to travel halfway around the world, and I start to become that man I wanted to be, I realized that I can make a change in my life. And all those things that happened to me as a child, I didn't have to repeat them, that I could make a difference and I could speak about it. The other thing that was really rough for me coming up, I didn't know how to communicate with another man. I didn't know that it was okay to hug a man. I didn't know it was okay to tell a man that you love him. I thought that that was soft. I thought that that was weak. And I thought that that was make me look like I was gay or whatever the case may be. And don't get me wrong. I don't have no ill will against nobody about your sexual desires and preference. That's who you are. It's okay with me. That's what you do. But I'm going to tell you, a man is a man. I don't care how you look at it. When you're born with a penis, it is what it is. And when you're born with the man's structure, it's a lot come with that. And so I wanted to say that to say that the pain that we endured as children, as we go into our manhood, is when we start to acknowledge these things and we correct them, because you don't let it stay with you. Because if you do, it will kill you. It will calm mentally, uncomfortable situation, physical as well. And it also will mess with your communication skills, because it's not just women in the world we got to deal with. We have to deal with other men. So with that said, a lot of the men who were abused by a man, physically, mentally, sexually, or whatever the case may be, it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to deal with the truth. And it's not so much what happened to you, it's now what are you doing to help yourself so that you can move forward. Because as a child, you're not responsible. As a child, the things that you were taught, sometimes you have to grow out of it and grow into the truth. And so with many men, as a child, we was taught not to show affection, not to tell, to cry, we had to walk around like if you fell down that you skinned your knee. Oh, that didn't hurt.
Right,
yes,
right, exactly.
It did hurt. And a lot of times that puts us in a very, very awkward position in relationships as well, that we don't know how to treat other people because we don't know how to treat ourselves. We don't even know how to love ourselves.
So do you think that comes, do you think that comes from the abusers, for whatever capacity is, whether it's verbal, sexually, or what have you? Do you think that this has been something that has just been perpetuating down through generation from generation as it relates to men? Because talking about our issues is one thing, but if we are unwilling, because there's something that I believe, and I ask you, what is your opinion on it as individuals, or your experience on it as individuals are listening to this? Because there are many men who are listening to this who have pretty much the same experiences that you and I have, but are so afraid to talk about it, and how it has, in many facets, I'm almost certain, as it did for myself, impact a lot of my decisions, a lot of my traveling through life, my level of a lack of consistency, if you will, with anything. For example, for a long time after being molested, I did carry that stigma, one, that it was my fault. I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I should have talked to someone about it instead of holding it, because it impacted my jobs, it impacted my relationships with females, it impacted, of course, my relationship with men. It impacted every area, and I want to know, what is it that we can do other than talk about it? Is there another piece to possibly, is talking about it enough? Is that the first step? Or what is some of this transition? Because I'm sure as people listening to this because I know I ain't the only one to feel like I feel, you know. Or is this something that I could ever dismiss, if you will? You know what I mean? This level of anger and frustration.
Well, let me say this first of all, and I'm going to talk on several areas. First of all, some men have problems because they didn't have no man in their life. So we have those guys who father wasn't there, father neglected them, father wasn't even around, so they grew up wishing they had a father, and that can be very devastating as well.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm confident as a man, so I can talk.
No
about
doubt,
it.
no doubt. Right. Okay.
When my cousin was trying to molest me, and he was young, he was a little older than me, but I don't know what his intent was. But let me tell you the confusion that I dealt with going into my manhood. And I'm being perfectly honest. When he was wrestling with me and I didn't realize exactly what he was doing at first, I found myself getting an erection because that was his intent. So when I realized what was going on, then I started to rebel and I started to fight him. Let me tell you privately, many times I had a thought in my mind that I did something wrong too because of the just doing that little bit of time. I didn't understand why I was feeling a certain way. Why was this happening to me? Now, what we got to understand is this. A lot of things that happen to you physically, you got to tie that in mentally to understand. So as I grew up, I've never been attracted to no man, but
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you right there. I need you to repeat that again because see, these are some good nuggets that you're dropping here. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
You're dropping some real good nuggets here. And what I mean by that is, and like I said, I'm confident today who I am as a man. You know what I'm saying? Very confident in that today. But at the same token, when I was coming, I thought how I felt made me see the situation different. You know what I'm saying? Right. And what you just dropped off was, and I appreciate that. What you just said was, don't confuse what you felt to what it really is.
Thank you. That's my point.
You understand what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. And that was a lot of help for me. I appreciate that. So I'll let you go ahead and finish.
So my point, I want to say this. That goes back to when we said discipline and a whooping, a beating. Beating is different from discipline. Mm-hmm. If you're disciplining me with passion and love, yeah, you give me that whooping. That whooping, you want me to realize that, hold on, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
See, this is how you know it's getting good when the lights and stuff start going out.
Yeah. that I'm in my studio, and if I don't move around, it'll cut off on me.
All right.
but let me go back and say that what you got to realize is that in your process and everything, you got to understand and tie the physical and the mental in. When I realized that I hit my first girlfriend, I come to find out she wanted me to hit her. I didn't want to hit her. She wanted me to hit her. And I found out that her mom and dad used to fight too. So she thought that was part of love.
Wow.
And I remember she asked me, said, "Why you won't hit me?" I said, "I ain't gonna hit you." She said, "Well, what I got to do to make you hit me?" I said, "If you spit on me, I'm gonna knock your teeth out your mouth." Well, one day while we was 14, 15 years old, then she spit on me, and I hit her. And from that point on, then I was confused. Now, where did the confusion come in? The confusion came in because I saw my father hit my mom. Mm-hmm. What was the confusion when what happened with me and my cousin, that I found that at some point I didn't understand why I was feeling a certain way. What happened when one of my uncles who I really admired yelled at me, and I looked at him like, no, you ain't talking to me like that. So I want to take the physical aspect of it and then the mental, and get to a point where then you start to understand, and you have to cipher through all this for understanding about who you are and what type of man you're going to be. So a lot of us are afraid to talk about our pain because we're ashamed.
Right.
Because we think we're wrong.
Exactly.
We think that what happened to us as a young person identify who we are as a man.
As a man, that's it. That's the hit right there. And just real quickly, because we're drawing towards the end and we got like 15 minutes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back in my director, because I think it's real good that she comes back in. One is because I know she's been in the backdrop, hearing it, and I think this has been excellent. As men discussions, man, I look forward, man, to you coming back on again, man, that we can really get because this was like a pop-up, you know what I'm saying? But we can really get a topic, man, and really get into this, man, because I believe you have a lot of life-changing words of wisdom, man, that I believe is lacking, because not many of us, as men, want to stand out, and as you stated, secure enough within yourself to know who you are as a man that can share this thing and it don't shake nothing in you. You know what I mean? And I think that would give other men the confidence, saying, well, you know what? If he said it, maybe I can stand up and say it. And that's what we want to do with this platform. So at this point, I'm going to bring Demetria back in and see what other feeds she got, man. But I greatly appreciate you for everything, man, you shared, man. I know the individuals will get a lot of it, and I look forward, man, that you coming back on again, man, and we can really, man, chop this up some more.
Man, oh man. Thank you, brothers. This is what Unfiltered Unspoken is looking for. I'm looking for brothers to come out so they can share their life experiences with other brothers, so other brothers can say, you know what, I'm going through that too. I feel what these brothers are going through, and the purpose of what Rodney does, what the Good Fight does, to help everyone realize that people, this is live issues that are going on that we carry from our childhood to our adulthood, and the effect that just even mom and dad fighting in front of you traumatizes you to a reaction. And so if someone does it to you, what you gonna do? You gonna hit them, right? Yeah. Because it's that abuse. And for me, with my house, I'll speak about my life experiences. I was bullied. So guess what I did? I went to school and I bullied. I knew it was wrong. After I did it, I felt bad because I knew the hurt that I was going through with being bullied. But it was just that normalized behavior, because what I watched, it was acceptable. I watched everyone bicker and fight. So guess what I did? I'm used to that drama. And I had a conversation with my best friend a while ago, and I love her. I love her. She's one of my biggest supporters. And I was telling her, we talk about each other even as friends, and we really don't think we're doing anything wrong. That's my best friend, but you talking about your best friend. But the reason why you're doing it is because what you watched growing up talked about their best friends, and then they was best friends, and then they was out partying, clubbing. But when you look at them, look at the parents before them. They did the same thing. So I looked at her one day. I was like, we probably done talked about each other because we watched this, but now I learned the true value of our friendship. Now I learned that this was childhood trauma, and I have so many of them. I just, I'm just bringing that one up as a little example, you know. So the good fight is going to continue to send a message that childhood traumas affect adult life decisions. I don't care if you're a male or female, but who we are traumatizing the most is youth comes to display these same patterns, just like Rodney. He could have been confused. Something could have really happened if he really was like, this ain't right, I'm gonna fight back. But Daryl, an older gentleman, manipulated his vulnerability to take his joy at a young age. And he had the same feeling, like, am I feeling like, but no, I'm not like that. I'm not going like that, you know? So it traumatizes us. It affects us. That's why we're going to continue to bring awareness to life traumas, because life traumas truly affect who we are today. And if we're not strong, you have strong folks on this podcast trying to make others that have weakness to give them the strength that we have now. And even though we may not be fully healed, we're healing. We're healing from these things, but we're healing because we're talking about it. We're sharing our life experiences. We're doing this not for just us, because if we had someone there for us, or someone that had a similar life experience, and we could have looked at them and said, man, they going through this. Guess what? I'm going through this too. This is an issue. This is a problem. They unhappy. I'm unhappy. You know, the message is, let's stop the abuse. My brothers, my kings. When I say brothers, I'm not talking about one color. My brothers is every color, everyone. It's okay to hurt, and it's okay to heal, and it's okay to speak your truths, because those truths are a part of your life. You don't have to hide it, and you don't have to go through it alone. You got people like me, Rodney, and Daryl that's saying it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to heal. It's okay to enjoy your life. I put a question up today in my chat group. You know, families in the similar, they say, don't talk about your family. What is family? Is family blood, or is family the ones that unite as one, that create this unity of love and bond? Family ain't just blood. My question is, family is supposed to protect you. Family are supposed to protect the kids. Is it okay not to talk about my hurt? You're trying to silence us, but we're hurting and we can't heal because you want to protect a family that hurt? Nah. I'm hurting and I'm going to heal, but it's going to be about my healing. I'm not talking about others' life experience. I'm talking about my life experience. And I'm sorry. I'm protecting my healing. I'm protecting my peace. And that's why I love myself now. Because that hurt that was captured in a child that lost her, that couldn't enjoy her childhood, I'm the better me. I'm the better me because you can't control me anymore. Let's stop the abuse. Let's protect our men. Let's protect our women. Let's protect our youth. Abusers, you need to know that you're abused and that you hurt people, and maybe one day God will give you the strength to realize abusing someone hurts. I don't care what the form of abuse is, because I was once an abuser, and I may abuse in certain ways now, but if I'm called out on it, then I'm at a level of growth. So I'm working to stop those bad habits, and we're asking you to work to stop those habits and to be a better person. Thank you for joining Unfiltered Unspoken. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, my brothers.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Rodney, before we leave out of here, we got like 2 or 3 minutes. If I was sitting back as a brother in a fetal position in my spirit, trying to find out and scared to death, I've abused my wife, I've abused my kids, I've struggled on my job to even take direction because of my past pain. What would you tell that individual?
You have to learn to love yourself and forgive yourself. But learn to love yourself first. Because if you learn to love yourself, you ain't gonna hurt yourself.
Amen, my brother.
So that's what you have to do. And you got to remember, just because it happened then, don't mean that it got to happen now.
Rodney, it's our turn to come on your podcast to support you, my brother, because we're in a unity where we gonna support each other.
Yes.
So the message that you delivered here is the message that we want to deliver on your showcase, so we can keep these messages, life experiences going. We're gonna keep it going. So we ready to get invited to you as well.
Most definitely. I'm looking forward to you coming to People to People.
Yes.
People to People with Rodney Grimes. We have Motivation Monday. We have Let's Talk About It Wednesday. And we also have date night, Friday date night.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a guest on those Motivational Mondays for a lot of episodes.
Oh,
so
for sure.
I'm coming to support you, my brother. I'm going to come guess it out. You know, I think people should see a different perspective, and people that are raw, and people that are real, and people that have accepted their lives, and people that have we testimonies, because, you know, we could have been, I was supposed to be dead or locked up. God, please spare my life. I ain't ready to go. I'm ready to continue to help folks. But people make a judgment, and I think I said this on my last one. Some that thought I was going to be this little bad cookie, I got a lot of them supporting me now. And that shows how you are true testimony right there.
Well, you said some people said what you're supposed to be.
What I was supposed to do.
Let me tell you something. You are who you are.
Amen.
You're a gift.
Now I am.
Gift.
Now I am. Now I'm who I am.
That's even for the people who's struggling. Know that you are a gift. God made no mistakes.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Everything that we go in our trials and tribulations in life is up to us to be the better. We don't have to stay. Yes, we don't have to stay on the negative side. Come to the positive. That's where the blessing comes.
Booyah! Boom! Again, Rodney and Daryl, thank you for this episode. People don't know we grind, and we just jumped on here today. Like, Rodney, come on. Daryl, let's get it. Daryl done cussed me out. Like, girl, just sit down. No, we need to deliver this message that God has put before us. God is telling us to deliver this message of healing through life experiences. This is a message.
Oh, it's just the beginning.
Yes, and I would like Rodney to take this time to tell folks where can they come view your podcast? Where can they follow you? Because, you know, one of the bigger things, Rodney, is that why I love being a part of Demetria's vision is that her unselfishness, to be able to not want everything for herself, but want everything for all people. You know what I'm saying? You know, to be able to continue to do things like that after different areas of trauma in your life, and still having traumas to be inflicted, that regardless of how small,
support each other. It's enough room for us
Yeah.
all. We don't have to go against each other. Support each other. Put me on here. Put Rodney on there. Daryl is exclusive, so you got to go through me, and he'll tell you. But let's share each other. Let's share the. There is no reason to be selfish. Let's put each other out there. Let's share the resources. Let's love on each other. This is what we should do. It's right. It's right.
Okay. So Rodney, let them know where they can follow you at, man, and find you at.
Well, actually, you can put in.
I'm sorry.
So
Hold on,
you
Rodney.
go
Start all over. Hold on.
Yeah, because I don't know what happened there, Rodney.
Yeah, but if you can go to YouTube, you can put in Rodney Grimes. Please hit subscribe. And you can go through, I have all type of programs where we talked about child abuse, we talked about health, we talked about business, we talk about spiritual growth, we talk about everything on people to people. And I'm excited, and I thank y'all for allowing me to be on this platform. And guess what? We in this together. And,
amen.
And so, you know, this is just the beginning. They ain't seen nothing yet.
They ain't seen nothing yet. Because let me tell you, when I say God say warriors, he put his warriors, he put his best men and women in the field. And he done put the best men and women in the field. And it's more, y'all. As soon as y'all ready to heal and jump on this journey and be the warriors, we're going to fight this war. We're going to win. It's a battle to never give up. I'm trying to tell you, it's a battle to never give up. Never.
Well,
much respect.
And you know, one thing about it, this is my sister, man. I love her dearly, man. But I tell you the truth, man. Hey, Rodney, I'm going to see whether or not I'm going to give you a call after this and see if I can get that switch that you got on the wall that is shut off on its own, because that one won't. So,
oh, I love to give the message. But please support us if you like the episodes. We are gearing up. We've been working hard. Cash App, adult monetary donation to The Good Fight, TheGoodFight, because this is a good fight and we're going to keep it going. We want to keep it going. Rodney, how can they make monetary donations to your podcast as well?
Also, you can make donations to the $, capital R, capital G, 1960. That's the $, RG, 1960.
Yeah, and you see mine splashing across the stream. It's a good damn fight. Let's get it.
Man,
yeah.
love y'all. Love you all. We'll definitely be coming on. You'll be able to follow us on YouTube now and all the other platforms, LinkedIn. We are trusting the process that the higher being will definitely give us the direction. When we're looking for people such as Rodney, anybody out there that has a story, please contact The Good Fight. Or guess what? We Unselfish. Or contact Rodney, people to people. We want the message out there so that your life can change and become much better than what it is. We love you.
Unfiltered, unspoken, giving it to people. Booyah.
Yeah.
You already know.
All right.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right.
All right.